Hey everybody, Economic Ninja here. I hope you're doing great. We're going to talk about real estate. We're going to talk about a friend of mine, a coworker, somebody that I've been talking to for a decade or more actually now. It seems, I don't know if we've known each other for 10 years or not. Anyway, that's not the point. We've been talking about real estate, how to make money, how to save money, and how to get ready for this crash right now. And it sounds funny, but at my work, we have a little bit of money that we all put together to buy food, snacks and things for people at work. It's just this little pot of money that goes into buying, salt and pepper, spices, condiments, things like that, right? And for years, I've been warning everybody at my work that this inflation event was going to happen, and it was coming, and it was going to get bad. And people shrugged it off, they laughed it off, right? And I'm going to be honest with you, at this point, they still don't care. They grumble about it a little bit with fuel prices, getting high and food getting high, but they haven't seen anything yet. But it was interesting because the other day, they said, hey, they need to raise the amount of money that everybody kicks into this little, pot of money. Because things are getting more expensive. And I said, well, you haven't seen anything yet. And they were trying to figure out how much they were going to raise the prices. And they said, oh, we'll do like $5 more, $10 more. Well, you better make like $20 more for the amount we put in, because prices are going to get even worse. As a matter of fact, what I would do is I would really, once you raise it, go out and stock up right now, because things are about to get stupid high over the next year. And they just laughed. And I said, I've been warning about this inflation event. Inflation was going to take off for like 10 years. I know it sounds crazy, but I have been, and now it's here. And they said, one of the answers were, Ninja, inflation is always happening. It's always happening. I said, yeah, I get that. You probably couldn't explain to me why that happens, but I will tell you this, you ain't seen nothing yet. And they just sort of brushed it off. So it's like, they've already gotten used to it. This is life. Well, I was talking to a buddy of mine, and I said, hey, where are you at with your finances? I'm just curious, and he has some credit card debt, and he told me how much. I was like, wow. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, do you have any other debt? And he says, oh, just a house payment. I'm like, that's awesome. So you're doing pretty good. I said, how much have you seen how much you're paying in interest? He said, yeah, about $300 a month. And I said, it would behoove you to get that paid off as soon as possible, because interest rates are actually going higher, and your rate can actually change over time. As a matter of fact, just recently, I heard that some credit cards have actually hit 30% interest. And it's this weight around your neck, and you don't realize it. It's just sort of like a thing that happens. You got into debt, and you're paying it off. I asked him what he was doing to try and pay it off. He was trying to pick up some overtime shifts. And I explained to him, the forward outlook for overtime is actually pretty grim where we work, because of some hiring practices that have just happened, some changes in policies. And not only that, the economy is starting to stall. So even governmental bodies actually curtail their spending too. And I gave him an idea, which is the simplest idea. I'm sure many people have done it. They do it. And I know one person, and we'll get into that in a second. But I was telling him, I said, have you considered doing a balance transfer with your credit card to a 0%, APR for a period of time? And he just laughed. He goes, I didn't even think about that. I said, you're paying this $300 a month in interest, and you're trying to knock down your payment. But the problem is, I said, how much do you pay? And the amount he pays, if you think about it, about half of that is going to interest. So I did some quick, napkin math, wrote it down for him. And I said, over the next, if you do a balance transfer to zero, and it sounds funny, it ties into gold and silver, because for years I've been telling him, dude, you got to check out the silver. I mean, it's like $14 an ounce, $15 an ounce. I'm not joking. It'll be like one of the greatest investments you've ever made. And he doesn't have any investments. And he still this day has not bought a silver ounce, right? And this is somebody that makes over 6 figures a year, is an accomplished person, a great person. He's a friend of mine. I really like this guy. And very kind, very smart. And there's one guy at my work that bought like 10 silver ounces. And again, he makes over 6 figures. And that was a big deal for me. It was like 200, I don't remember how much it was when he bought it. But back then he paid like $15 an ounce. And today, silver's sitting around $21 an ounce, right? Well, it's not like earth-shattering profits, but it is like, it equates to like a 30% profit over time. And it's funny because he admits, on a percentage basis, that's the highest rate of return he's ever made on any investment, right? And so going back to my buddy with the credit cards, I said, you know what, and this isn't a commercial, like I don't get paid from this company to talk about this, but like Amex just came out with their credit card. And I said, look, it's 0%. They're doing this deal for like 6 months. You could transfer it over, and we did napkin math, and he'll save like $1,200 in interest if he keeps paying the amount of payments he is on his credit card to get it paid off. He'll have it paid off in the 6 months, and he'll save $1,200. And I said, not only if you want to take that $1,200 you saved and buy silver with it, because that's found money, because it's free money. It was money that you were blowing, but now you pivoted, you did something a little differently, you transferred the balance, you closed that other credit card. You could buy some silver with that, but then not only that, if you're using your credit card wisely in the future and you're using it for everyday payments, but you have that money set aside, right? Like you're using it for your food and all that kind of stuff, and then every month you're paying it off and you're not paying interest on it, and that's a responsible way to use credit, right? Credit card companies don't like it, but that's how it is. I've been using credit cards for 20 years, and with my wife for 22 years, and only once did we accidentally mess up and not pay our balance off. And that honestly was because my wife made the payment at night and wasn't thinking about New York time. And it literally went over by an hour. So we got to see how much we paid in interest. Holy cow. It was like $800 for that one mess up. And I'm going to be honest with you, that was only like about a year and a half ago. So it was a total foobar, But I said, that credit card lets you, essentially, you're using your points, builds up to either take physical coin, gold and silver from Amex, or they'll store it. You could buy it at spot price. So if you take physical, you're buying, you build up like a gift card, and you go on their website and you take possession of it, but you're paying spot plus premium, right? Or you can have it vaulted, like what I do with my vaulting system, and one gold, and you're buying it at spot price and it gets vaulted. So you're playing that numbers game if you believe that silver and gold are going to go higher in price in the future. And I said, and I asked him, what do you do with your stuff now, your cash back? And with the credit card, and he says, well, I get like gift certificates and things like that. And I said, what do you spend it on? And he really didn't have an honest answer because he doesn't remember the last time he spent it. But my point being is, I'm like, at least this you'd be putting into something eternal, something that you have, an asset, right? Not like another coffee at Starbucks or wherever you spend those dollars. Matter of fact, I was talking to another coworker the other day, and yesterday, and he says his family budget, they spend about $140 a month on Starbucks. All the guys are jawed. But he goes, well, if you think about it, that's not that many, because these, coffees cost like $6 a piece. And they all know about the McDonald's coffee with me. Although today I'll just be enjoying it with my Economic Ninja mug. But you think about how much people spend, and then the same thing with him. Doesn't have an ounce of silver, doesn't have an ounce of gold. And I go, guys, you're storing up paper, fake things, the stocks. And yes, I buy stocks. I invest in stocks because I look for leverage. But at a certain point when my stocks go up in value, I take the money off the table and I buy tangible assets, physical assets. I either pay off my real estate, or I buy gold and silver, or I buy a cryptocurrency I store away, right? And that has fluctuations in price too. But it's just an idea that I had, and I wanted to share with you, and I asked him if I could share the story, even though you don't know who he is, because just a simple little balance transfer can make all the difference in the world when it comes to your finances. So consider that. If you have high credit card, look for a credit card that you can do a 0% transfer for a certain amount of months. And there's even credit card companies that allow you to do it for longer than that. But I would suggest going shorter, because it really gets you in the mode of paying that debt off. And then once you're debt free, the freedom and the stress that is off of you, it is unbelievable. So I hope you guys got something from this. Please share your stories below if you've ever done that, used a balance transfer 0% to pay off your debt and use that as motivation. All right, guys, that being said, the Economic Ninja is out.